If you've looked for a job recently, you've probably noticed something strange. Everywhere you look, companies are hiring. Now hiring, urgently hiring, help wanted. Job boards are full, listings go up every day, employers complain about labor shortages. Politicians talk about strong job markets.
Last week it was announced that the United States added 172,000 jobs in the private sector.
And yet, people apply to dozens, sometimes hundreds of jobs and hear nothing back. No interview, no rejection, just silence. Or worse, they go through multiple rounds of interviews only to be told the company decided not to move forward, and then the exact same job gets reposted days later. So what's going on? If companies are hiring, why aren't they actually hiring? To understand this, you have to look beyond the job postings and into how modern hiring actually works. Because the truth is, a lot of those open positions aren't really open in the way you think. Let's start with something called ghost jobs. A ghost job is a position that a company advertises even though it doesn't intend to fill it anytime soon, or sometimes at all. And this isn't a fringe phenomenon.
Yeah, so those are jobs that aren't really valid. So there's a job posting up and people are applying to it, but that job isn't necessarily real or active.
Surveys of hiring managers have found that a significant percentage of job listings fall into this category. So why would a company post a job it doesn't plan to fill? There are actually a few reasons. One is perception. Companies want to look like they're growing. If a business has dozens of open roles listed, it signals expansion, success, momentum. That matters to investors, customers, and even current employees. It creates the image of a thriving company, even if hiring isn't actually happening at that scale. Another reason is talent pooling. Even if a company doesn't need someone right now, it might want to collect resumes for the future. So it posts a job, gathers applicants, and builds a pipeline of potential hires it can reach out to later. From the company's perspective, that's efficient. From the applicant's perspective, it's frustrating. Then there's the internal angle. Sometimes a job is posted because a company is legally required to do so, even if it already has an internal candidate in mind. The listing goes up, applications come in, interviews might even happen, but the outcome is already decided. It creates the appearance of a fair hiring process, while the real decision happens behind the scenes. But ghost jobs are only part of the story. Even when companies are genuinely trying to hire, the process itself has changed in ways that make it much harder for applicants to succeed. One of the biggest shifts is automation. Most large companies don't have humans reviewing every resume. They use applicant tracking systems, software designed to filter and sort applications before a person ever sees them. These systems scan for keywords, qualifications, and formatting. If your resume doesn't match what the system's looking for, it might be rejected automatically. No human ever reads it. This means that even qualified candidates can be filtered out before they get a chance. And because companies receive so many applications, these filters tend to be strict. In some cases, overly strict. The result is a paradox. Companies say they can't find qualified candidates. Applicants say they can't get a response. Both can be true at the same time because the system in between isn't working efficiently. Then there's the issue of expectations. Over time, job requirements have quietly expanded. Entry-level positions ask for years of experience. Mid-level roles require specialized skills across multiple disciplines. Job descriptions become wish lists. Long lists of ideal qualifications that few people actually meet. Employers aren't necessarily expecting to find the perfect candidate, but they're hoping to get as close as possible. And because they can afford to wait, they often do. This creates what's sometimes called the unicorn problem. Companies hold out for an ideal candidate who checks every box, even if that candidate is rare or doesn't exist. In the meantime, positions stay open. From the outside, it looks like constant hiring. From the inside, it's constant searching. There's also the question of risk. Hiring someone's expensive, not just in terms of salary, but training, onboarding, and the potential cost of a bad hire. If a company hires the wrong person, it can take months to fix the mistake. So employers become cautious. They add more interview rounds, more assessments, more checks. What used to be a simple hiring process becomes a multi-stage evaluation. Phone screenings, technical tests, culture interviews, final interviews. Each step adds time, and each step increases the chance that a candidate drops out or gets filtered out. So even when a company intends to hire, the process slows things down, and that delay can look like inaction. But there's a deeper layer to all of this, because hiring isn't just about filling roles, it's also about managing costs. Labor is one of the biggest expenses for most companies, so there's always pressure to keep it under control. One way to do that is by stretching existing employees. If a team is short-staffed, but still meeting deadlines, a company might delay hiring. Work gets redistributed. People take on extra responsibilities. From a financial perspective, that's efficient. From an employee perspective, it can lead to burnout. But as long as the work gets done, the incentive to hire immediately isn't always there. This creates a situation where companies can say they're hiring while still operating with fewer employees than they actually need. The job posting exists, the intention to hire exists, but the urgency doesn't. And without urgency, hiring can be delayed indefinitely. Then there's the broader economic context. In uncertain times, companies become more cautious. They might open positions, but wait to see how things develop before committing. If revenue's unpredictable, if markets are unstable, if leadership is unsure about future growth, hiring becomes something to approach carefully. So roles stay open, budgets stay flexible, decisions get postponed. To an applicant, it looks like a missed opportunity. To a company, it's risk management. There's also the role of data. Modern hiring is increasingly driven by metrics: time to hire, cost per hire, retention rates. Companies analyze these numbers to optimize the processes. But optimization doesn't always align with speed. Sometimes it leads to more filtering, more steps, more caution. The goal becomes finding the right candidate, not just filling the role. And that can extend timelines significantly. All of this adds up to a system where job postings don't necessarily reflect immediate hiring. They reflect potential hiring, possible hiring, conditional hiring. And for job seekers, that distinction matters, because it means that applying to a job isn't always applying to a real, active opportunity. Sometimes it's applying to a placeholder, a pipeline, a possibility. So what does this mean for the broader job market? It means that traditional signals, like the number of job postings, don't tell the whole story. A high number of listings doesn't necessarily mean high levels of hiring. It can coexist with long job searches, high competition, and widespread frustration. It also means that the experience of looking for a job has fundamentally changed. It's no longer just about qualifications. It's about navigating systems, optimizing resumes for algorithms, applying at the right time, standing out in a crowded and often opaque process. And that can feel exhausting, especially when the feedback loop is so limited. Applications go out, responses don't come back, and it's not always clear why. Was it the resume, the timing, the system, the job itself? There's no easy way to know. And that uncertainty makes the process even harder. So when companies say they're hiring, they're not necessarily lying, but they're also not telling the whole story. Because hiring isn't a single action. It's a process shaped by incentives, systems, and constraints. And those factors don't always align with the needs of job seekers. The result is a disconnect. On one side, companies looking for the right candidate, managing costs, and navigating uncertainty. On the other, individuals trying to find stable work, facing systems that filter, delay, and sometimes mislead. Both sides are responding to the same system, but experiencing it in completely different ways. And until that system changes, the gap is likely to remain. So the next time you see a company that's always hiring, it's worth asking, are they actually hiring, or are they just looking?